Hello everybody, this is Ryan Scalf with Military Memories and More. Today we're going to bring you a video that's going to demonstrate some of the basic steps we utilize in designing our military shadow box. The first thing that you want to do is make sure that you have all the items that are going to be used inside the shadow box available, and then start creating a layout as to how it's going to be presented within the frame. What you see here is we've started with metals and then kind of centered the whole project by putting a photograph of the soldier up at the top center, and then worked our way down through the project to keep it even balanced. Once you have the layout established to how you want it to look for the final display, you then will take all the measurements for each individual window, and what we have is a computerized mat cutter that we load all those window measurements into to create each individual window, and then we again in turn mock the layout that we have that you see here within the software. This is what our layout that you saw on the table looks like within our software. Once we have all the window information in terms of sizes loaded into the software, we then use our mat cutter and make the physical cuts on each layer of our mat board. For this particular layout, we've chose a double mat. It's going to be a top mat of black followed by a gold Florentine bottom mat. And this here is exactly what you saw on the computer screen, and this is what it looks like once it's cut and assembled. Alright, so now that we've actually cut out the mat board, the next step that you want to do is to check and verify that everything is going to mesh up correctly within each window. So just to kind of show you what this looks like once we have everything laid on top of here, looks like it's going to fit out and work out pretty good. And the next phase here is finding out the depth that you would need to have set for each item to be able to be set back away from the glass properly. Okay, so now we're at the stage where we're going to try and check to see if we can get the right depth set for all the windows to be spaced away from all of our metals and objects that are going to be in here, away from the glass. And in general, you want to kind of look, of course, for whichever one's going to be set up the highest. And in most cases, if you have a ribbon rack included into a military shadow box like this, generally that's going to be the highest point of the display itself. So what I've already kind of done is pre-cut some strips of, it's probably about 3/16, almost 1/4 inch foam core, and I'm going to place them up underneath the mat on the edges in the center. Just real quickly to make sure that I got enough support here to where when I lay back the mat down, now I can see how deep these window openings will be. And that is, like I expected, the perfect height to where we're going to be at. So the next phase here is start creating our support frame with the 1/4 inch foam core. All around our edges is where you start out first. So what I will in turn do here is take these strips of foam core, glue them together, and then get them butted up out onto the edge side here, and then secure that down as that looks right there. And then I would move on over to the next corner here. And one thing that you do want to keep in mind is that you want to try and keep enough width on your foam core strips to be able to be supportive, but you also want them set back far enough to where they aren't exposed off in the sides and on the down views of your displays to where they can see that foam core edging. It doesn't look real clean. Alright, now we've got all the strips along the edging all completely fastened down, and I've allowed it time to dry. Usually between 5 and 10 minutes with this glue, it dries pretty quickly. From here, what you want to do is lay the mat boarding back on top of your display here. You see I've already kind of got some support going on, but what you want to do from here is kind of find some of your wider areas that you can mask some of your strips. Picture this strip being mounted behind the mat board itself, and that way it'll take up that slack right there, which I can show you here if I lift this up and place a couple of pieces up in there. See that now that's fully supported, so that when I put glass and have this all fully mounted within the frame, it's going to support everything once it's completely put together. And of course, you do that, you want to try and find as many points as possible to be able to make this be as strong and sturdy as you can. Again, you want to make sure that they're thin enough to be able to be hidden back behind, but also wide enough to be able to be strong and supportive. So there's kind of a happy medium there. You just need to find it. After you do a few of them, you'll figure out pretty much what the basic standards widths are. I'd say anywhere from about 3/4 to 1 inch is about the general size strips that we use in majority of our frame displays. So from here, what we'll do is take the mat board off and start building those support areas within the center here, which you can kind of see where I'm going to start working at. Okay, now we've got all of our strips into place. We've gave it plenty of time to dry. The next phase would be to secure the actual mat board to these strips with the same glue that we used to fasten these down to our backing. We're going to do the same thing. I'd run beads across all these edges, the center pieces, and then I'll take my mat board and lay that on top of here. Make sure all my corners are nice and square. And then I have these pre-cut blocks that I will set throughout the layout to give it a little bit of weight and hold the mat board down onto those blocks. And then give that plenty of time to dry. This glue, you probably can give it a good 5-10 minutes and it'll already be secured enough to where you can move on to the next phase, which is putting your metals in and starting to fasten everything down. Alright, well that concludes the demonstration on some of the basic steps that we use in designing and building our military shadow boxes. We will discuss metal mounting and frame mounting in further videos, so stay tuned. You can reach us at 309-289-0099 or you can check out our website, militarymemoriesandmore.com. Thank you.